Yo, what is up guys, Ghost here, welcome back to another video. So today, I wanted to highlight probably one of the worst takes I've ever seen on the Battlefield franchise in a long time here. We're going to be covering a very interesting article that came out recently, and the reason I want to go over this article and why it's so bad is that it really shows how this journalist here is just so out of touch with what Battlefield 2042 and indeed the Battlefield franchise going forward actually needs to succeed, at least in my opinion. And so I really want to highlight this because I am absolutely terrified that DICE are going to listen to these kind of people and make the wrong decisions going into the future. Guys, as always, hit up that subscribe button, hit the like button down below. Any support you guys show me is always massively appreciated. Okay, before we get into the main meat of the video here, we have a little update on update 6.4, and the update is basically that it's not coming today. So today is Tuesday, so if you guys remember the road to Season 7, the very extremely long, slow and winding road, I might add, it says here that from February the 20th until March the 5th, we have update 6.4, including persistent server updates, whatever those mean, aircraft impact improvements, and vehicle gunner direction HUDs, and hopefully some more interesting changes as well. So I think a lot of people got confused and they thought that 6.4 was dropping today on the 20th. But as Mr. Kevin Johnson has pointed out here, he says there are no update notes for next Tuesday, so that's today. The roadmap is not explicit in the sense that as soon as February 20th hits, it's 6.4. It's a time frame in which to expect things within. And if you guys go and take a look at your calendars, you will note that March the 5th is actually a Tuesday as well. So 6.4, it could be coming next week, but it may also be coming the week after that. I really do hope it's next week though, because Lord knows we really need some content here. Now on the other hand, DICE have gone ahead and dropped the Archangel Directive, so that was one of the mid-season events for one of the previous seasons, and that is now coming back. So it comes, of course, with the control mode, which is a pretty good game mode in my opinion. It is really one of the best mid-season modes that they've ever had, and you do get a few rewards with that. For 10 ribbons, you get the algorithmic player card tag. For 30 ribbons, you get an XP booster, woohoo! And for 60 ribbons, you get the existential effect Avances weapon skin. So pretty much just like the last event, a couple of skins or a charm or something like that, and like an XP booster and a couple of tier skips. Not really anything too exciting to write home about there. Okay, without further ado, let us get into the article. So this one was written over on Game Rant, and the author is a lady by the name of Lauren Beeler Bystad. Sorry if I've kind of butchered the name there, but the title here is "It's time for Battlefield to finally pull the trigger on a much requested mode. A mode Battlefield fans have wanted for years that originally began as a joke should actually become reality in the next game." And here are a couple of the highlights. DICE finally needs to bring the Dino Mode joke to life in the next Battlefield game after teasing it for so many years. Adding dinosaurs to Battlefield may seem absurd, but it could be the refreshing change the franchise needs. And embracing the absurd with a Dino Mode could help Battlefield redeem itself with fans after the mixed reception of 2042. Okay, Lauren, I haven't read the article yet here, but I'm just going to go and put this out there that I think the last thing that fans want from the next Battlefield game in order to redeem the integrity and the reputation of the Battlefield franchise is a silly dino mode. So let's continue here. The Battlefield franchise has been around for more than 20 years now, and the future of the franchise should finally embrace a mode that many fans have been requesting for a long time. If Battlefield is able to pull off adding this long-requested mode to the next game in the franchise, a classic joke from developer DICE could become an amazing reality. After Battlefield 2042 ended up being a divisive entry in the long-running series, the franchise will be looking for a way to redeem itself with its successor. There are many ways Battlefield could elevate current features, but offering a new mode based on an old joke from DICE could be just what the series needs in order to get the game's community excited about their next entry. Okay, so let's just take a little flashback here and think about the release of Battlefield 2042. Now, what were some of the major criticisms about the game? Yes, the game was rushed and it didn't get the development time that it needed, but a lot of them were that DICE and EA decided to innovate way too much and basically do a lot of trend chasing within the scene in order to try to elevate Battlefield 2042 to greater heights. But what they actually did is lost the core concept, the core formula of the game in doing so. And so I think it's safe in saying that most players, as far as I can tell, are asking for a return to form for the next Battlefield game. I really don't think DICE and EA can afford to sort of mess around, especially not with silly game modes like dinosaur game modes. You know, this is not Chorok, this is Battlefield, and I think what players want to see here is a return to the good old class system, the good old conquest mode, a little bit more seriousness, if anything. So she continues here saying, several years ago, in response to Call of Duty's popular Zombies mode, DICE made a jab at its competitor by claiming a Dino mode was coming to Battlefield. Since then, the Dino mode joke has been an ongoing gag in the Battlefield community. The developers should actually consider adding this mode to the game as a way to add a fun, fresh spin to the series. Of course, Dino mode would be absolutely ridiculous considering how serious Battlefield can be, but maybe that's the breath of fresh air the Battlefield franchise needs right now. The competition between Battlefield and Call of Duty has been fierce through the years, and both franchises have left many fans disappointed with their most recent releases, Battlefield 2042 Modern Warfare 3. However, this puts Battlefield in a unique position that could pay off for the series. DICE finally adding Dino mode to Battlefield could give the franchise and developers the upper hand over the next Call of Duty, while also redeeming itself with fans who were let down by Battlefield 2042. Although the original joke about Dino mode was a dig at Call of Duty Zombies mode, Zombies is still a major draw for Call of Duty, and Battlefield could benefit from something similar. Okay, so yes, it's true, Zombies, I believe, surpassed the developers' expectations for the Call of Duty franchise. I do think they added it kind of just as a, you know, why the hell not, let's just see how this goes, and it actually has become pretty popular. So I'm not necessarily saying that a dinosaur mode in a Battlefield game can't become popular, but it just isn't the right time. You really have to read the room with this kind of stuff. You know, if DICE and EA release an absolute banger, an absolute winner of a Battlefield title, it's a true return to form, and if all of those Battlefield players who have lost faith in the franchise, they've stopped playing the games, they come back and that new game wins them back, then yeah, maybe then, once they've got a good game on their hands and they've got a solid player base, they can start to mess around with some of these silly arcade modes. But I just really don't feel like that is the play, especially not like as a launch mode for the next game. I really do think people are looking for something a lot more serious, and I think it would make DICE and EA look very out of touch with their community, and honestly, even more of a laughingstock than they already are. So here's the last bit of the article, and it's called DICE Should Embrace the Absurd. The Battlefield franchise has approached the war genre very seriously, and this has created some incredible first-person shooter gameplay, but the series may also benefit from adding a mode that allows players to blow off some steam in one of the most ridiculous ways imaginable. There are certain modes in Battlefield that wouldn't work, but adding dinosaurs would be so absurd and potentially hilarious that a lot of fans wouldn't be able to resist. Many fans in the Battlefield community have been waiting years to see a dino mode finally come to life, and Battlefield needs to finally deliver. Following Battlefield 2042's release not going exactly according to plan, DICE needs to go back to the drawing board in order to get fans excited about the future of the franchise. Okay, let me just stop you right there. That is the absolute opposite of what DICE need to do. They don't need to go back to the drawing board at all. We already know what makes a great Battlefield game, we've seen it in multiple other Battlefield titles, but unfortunately the last good Battlefield game released in 2016 with Battlefield 1, and it seems that ever since then, DICE and EA have sadly lost their way. So no, I really don't agree that they need to go back to the drawing board, you know, reinventing the wheel, what is it that Andrew Wilson always says, redefining how Battlefield should be played. Look, I'm not against innovation, right? I don't want to sound like some stuck-up old man who thinks things should never change and always be the same. But I am a big believer that innovation should come along in small little leaps, and eventually you end up making big strides once you strike gold with something. Reinventing the wheel is an extremely risky way to innovate in a game, and that's exactly what we saw with Battlefield 2042. There is still hope for Battlefield on the horizon, and DICE should recover from the franchise's slump by giving many fans what they've been asking for years: the possibility of going up against terrifying dinosaurs while using Battlefield's adrenaline-inducing first-person shooter mechanics is incredibly exciting to think about. But it would also be a hilarious way to experience Battlefield with friends in a completely new way. Like, honestly, I do have to ask the question, how much has this journalist actually played Battlefield before? How well informed are they of what is currently happening with the Battlefield franchise? Because honestly, this is probably one of the worst articles I've seen in a long time, and this person doesn't seem to be in tune with the community and what they want for the game at all. I mean, stop me if I'm wrong, guys. If you guys all think this is like a fantastic idea for the next Battlefield game, then by all means drop it down below. But you know, I really do want to reiterate here that I'm not exactly against the game mode per se. I just think that the timing is incredibly bad. But you know, maybe 2 Battlefield games from now, 3 Battlefield games from now, once the series has gotten back on its feet again, then yeah, sure, why not? Put in a silly dino mode to go alongside the hopefully a little bit more serious and sort of slightly more hardcore proper Battlefield experience that we can all expect. Even put it in the next game if that game is actually good, but for the time being, how's about we let DICE and EA concentrating on actually making a good Battlefield game to begin with without throwing in the silly game mode, because as I mentioned before, they haven't managed to do that since 2016, which is almost 10 years ago. Anyway, I'll leave it at that, guys. Sorry that this was a bit of a ranty one today. Like I said, leave me your own thoughts down below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed the video and subscribe for more Battlefield content. One day, we will get some new content for the game, and I will be here to cover it, so make sure you guys don't miss out on that. Otherwise, though, I hope you all have a good day, and I'll see you all in the next video.